it didn't even seem aggressive. It just seemed like, well, I thought they were kind of trying to help you in saying that, like, you know, we have this whole thing with Kayla, but at the same time, like, Polly shouldn't be physically, you know, doing affectionate towards you. And it almost seemed like they were trying to help you. And you're like, but aren't they trying to help you? I think so. That's what left viewers, I think, a little bit confused.
Yeah. At the time, it didn't feel like they were trying to help me because Kayla's crying and, you know, I'm staying out of it and they keep bringing me into it. So it's just like, what is happening here? You know, but, you know, I think maybe that's what they were trying to do. And maybe we just didn't see eye to eye at that time.
Did this experience like bring you closer to anyone that we see on the show, like any agents? And if so, who?
You know, I've maintained really good friendships with everybody. So I don't think there's anybody that luckily I had a falling out with or something like that. You know, Austin and I kind of gravitate towards each other and we kind of have similar interests. So I think he and I have a bit of a bromance. But you know, Polly, Brandi, Lauren, Alex, and I even really do respect the other Alexes, you know, so there's nobody that I dislike. I'll say that.
Did this, even though you don't dislike anyone, did this experience like kind of like, you know, draw you away from someone or fracture a relationship slightly?
You know, I don't think it necessarily fractured a relationship. I think it definitely started bigger conversations that all of us had after filming or after seeing it specifically. And ultimately, hopefully it brought us all closer. And if it didn't bring us closer, at least we can all, you know, establish a little more respect. I think there was, in times, not everybody was treating each other with the most respect. So moving forward, I think that's something that hopefully we can all have as we try and sell these multi-million-dollar houses and, you know.
And actually go to work together.
And actually go to work, yeah.
Well, one, you know, as far as we mentioned drama, and there was a lot between, you know, Alex Hall and Jarvis and Rose, but, you know, we did see, you know, you get tangled up in the drama, you know, as far as Kayla is concerned.
Yeah.
You know, when we learned that, you know, she tried to kiss you 3 times, there is like now this narrative out there, like Alex Hall did an interview like that. It was more than that she tried to get into your car at the end of the night. I don't know if you saw that interview.
I did see it. Yeah. I think she was saying that Kayla was trying to get me into her car, but yeah. So, I mean, there was more. So the incident that happened while we weren't filming. It was, you know, the Oppenheim group, we have really fun dinners and we have a lot of fun, you know, when we're not working. And so one of those nights, everybody was drinking and Kayla did make a move at me after a couple other moves, but did ask me to come home with her in front of Polly. And Polly and I just looked at each other like, what is happening? Kayla went home. And that's kind of where you kind of see that scene pick up in the show, was after that had happened. Because the first couple of times were casual, but when you, not casual, but just, it was more innocent. And then when you ask somebody something that serious, it kind of changes the whole dynamic. So that's why I think everybody was so upset. And also, I think viewers think that I didn't have a conversation with Kayla and I just brought it on the show, but Kayla and I did have a conversation one-on-one, squashed it, you know? And so there's a lot that happens off camera that people don't get to see that, you know, will give this whole story more context, but there's only something that fit in 8 episodes. So.
Exactly. I mean, so what is that like? You know, we learned on the show, like, you know, like you admitted yourself, like you're a little more reserved. You're not, like, you know, when something like this happens, like in Kayla then tries to like, you know, invite you into her car, like knowing that, you know, even though that may not be on camera, you're now filming, like, was that hard for you just knowing that this possibly is going to be part of this show?
Yes. Yeah. Because I have no problem squashing it with Kayla one-on-one and saying like, hey, you know, this thing can't happen, putting up those boundaries. But when it's in a group setting and I know there's millions of people watching now, then I just want to minimize it, get away from it and have it not be a thing, you know? And I think that you kind of see that where I'm just like not saying much and just trying to move past it. So it is strange, but it definitely, I think as a result of going through that, it definitely helped me grow a bit and be less afraid to find my voice in those moments because, you know, sometimes that makes the world of difference.
And is that kind of what you learned just in dealing like with conflict? Because I would think regardless of a TV show, like you said, you're still professionals and working together. Like that's got to be a strange conversation, even off air to have, I would think.
Totally. It's super strange. Yeah. But it was one that needed to be had. So I think in that instance, there was no other choice. You just have to have it, you know, cameras or no cameras, but with cameras, yes. As you said, it's kind of an added stress.
Just because you seem like a nice guy. I mean, I'm like a hard edge New Yorker over here. Like I went to law school. Like it just seems like maybe conflict is, and I don't mean that as any shade, like conflict isn't your.
Conflict is not my thing. I would rather squash it, get done with it, not have it be this big like thing that's dragged out. Yeah, I'm not a conflict guy. Yeah, I'm very much not New York. I'm Laguna Beach.
Yes, I can tell, in like a best way possible.
Thank you. Yeah.
So
by the way.
Thank you. So did that, I mean, did this kind of like whole thing and like dealing with a conflict, like did it help you, you know, like with conflict, like if something else comes up in the future, just in general, not even with Kayla?
I mean, well, I guess we'll find out and see, but I do think so. I think this was, you know, it's been a long time since I've had any sort of conflict like this in my life. So yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Did it bother you watching it back? Like, I don't know if you were aware of it at the time. Like, did it bother you that, like, you know, Alex Hall and Polly, like you said, like you already had the conversation, you know, that they were kind of making such a big deal out of this with Kayla, even though you kind of.
Yeah. You know, I think they were doing it out of, you know, pure intentions. I think, again, there was possibly more that happened between them. So it was kind of a buildup of a lot of things. And, you know, I can't speak to what they were feeling, but I think there was more in that scene than just the incident between Kayla and I. So.
Well, I think there was a lot more too. You know, we have like Polly and Alex Hall kind of on one side, you know, and we have Kayla in the middle, and we have like Jarvis and Rose on the other. You know, do you think, because it seemed to me like, and I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth, but like, do you think both sides, like Hall and Polly maybe on the left and like Jarvis and Rose on the right, were like weaponizing this kiss kind of to like use it to their own advantage?
So that's exactly how I felt on the boat scene, and why I kind of not exploded, but just had to go out there and make a point, because I did feel like the Kayla kiss thing and having it continuing and have it brought the Kayla kiss thing and the way it kept getting brought up was more about their relationships than the incident itself. And so in that moment, that's what I was saying is like, this isn't about Kayla and I anymore. It's about you guys. So please leave us out of it and you guys squash your thing.
That's 100% how I took it as well.
Yeah. Well,
it's
great.
Like, I'm sure it's the last thing you really want to talk about on a daily basis. And I'm sure it's the last thing she really wants to talk about, especially if you've moved on and everyone involved has dealt with it.
Right.
So that's got to be hard, or has to have been hard. And everything now, like working with Kayla is fine. Like you guys, I mean, are professionals. It's not an issue.
Yeah, we're professionals. You know, I think, and we have a friendship, but I think it just is different and may always be different after that. And that's okay. But it's just,